We are well past the hurricane season, and yet tropical storms are still forming in the Caribbean. There is chaos breaking out in terms of weather all over the world. We've already had a series of horrendous earthquakes on this planet in the past 24 months. As we speak, there are people suffering and dying in Kashmir because of a great earthquake and now the cold that has followed. We're in a period of change, a period in which it's quite possible, although not totally certain, that the planet is going to become unable to support large numbers of human beings. William, what I'm talking about is, I think that you may have the key to rescue of at least some of us. Maybe the kind of rescue that has been effected in the past during these earthly upheavals and cataclysms, a kind of rescue that nature intends us to discover. How do you react to this?
Oh, my intuition, my gut says you're absolutely dead on. And we can point to the example of the civilization of Atlantis that appears to have reached this high degree of civilization. And if the work of, for example, Dr. Paul Laviolette is correct, and I believe it is, we have experienced these cyclical cataclysms that have been triggered by super waves coming from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And in fact, as we speak, I'm here in Phoenix at Dr. Chet Snow's Signs of Destiny conference, and I gave a presentation yesterday called The Anointing of the Dove. And this will be available on DVD, and we'll make a special offer to the Dreamland listeners if they like. What I was chronicling is these amazing discoveries that have been made just within the past couple of weeks about new understandings about the glittering heart of our Milky Way galaxy, new images coming of the center of our Milky Way galaxy, and I talked in particular about Project Stardust, which is a spacecraft that was sent into to retrieve stardust, some of the ancient primordial dust that may even be this monoatomic white powder that Lawrence Gardner and others have spoken about recently. Well, this Project Stardust, the spacecraft returns to Earth on January 16th with a pristine sample of this white, pure stardust. And I describe this as the anointing of the dove, and in this case, the dove that I speak of is the Milky Way galaxy itself. And it's if at this moment we're having this amazing period of discovery where we're learning all these ancient secrets about where we came from, what we're made of, and in my view, we're making these discoveries so that it will enable us to help us through this period of transition. And I think that what happens is that throughout time, these opportunities come available, and we are in the midst of one of these perfect moments where we have this knowledge available to us, and it's up to us to begin to use it and take advantage of this situation.
Exactly, a perfect moment. Whether there is a great cataclysm coming or not, nobody knows. But what we do know is the energetic situation in which we find ourselves is such that we can begin to expand into other worlds and other levels of reality on a personal basis. I have done it physically. Take it to a car with me. It can, therefore, be done. Because, believe me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Believe you me, that is more true than you could possibly imagine. I am as ordinary as an old Ford in almost every respect. In fact, it wasn't an old Ford, as I said earlier, it was an old Jeep, but the same thing, it still applies. If I can do it, you can do it, folks, and William can do it. Now, what William is trying to do is to break a code, because it is through the energy of understanding that we can learn to go down this crucial path. The energy is there waiting for us. Maybe 1,000 years ago it was impossible to do this. Maybe 15,000 years ago it was ordinary to do this. And it's going to become ordinary again for those who understand. So now, William, let's get back to the Magdalene and what she represents and what she was doing, and how an understanding of the relationship between Jesus and the Magdalene, and let's go all the way back to the beginning, to Mary, to the very beginning, as you do in your book. And let's talk about that relationship and what it means inside our own bodies.
Great. Well, you wanted to talk about the relationship between Mary Magdalene and Mari?
No. Okay, let's do it in two phases. Let's talk first about the relationship between Mary Magdalene and Mary, yes. Then we'll talk about the relationship between the masculine and feminine elements of a light being.
Yeah, I think what often is not understood about Mary Magdalene is that she herself was a temple priestess, an initiate. She continued a transmission of knowledge that had begun in the ancient world, going back to Isis in Egypt, to Mari or Ishtar or Istara as she was called in Babylon, to Inanna, who was the Semitic goddess. She was also called Astarte. And what we have in each of these goddesses, and we notice the repetition of this name or title, Mary or Mari, which means beloved, is a figure, a female figure who possessed literally the knowledge about the Twilight Zone that you're describing, Whitley. They are part of a category of goddesses that possessed this knowledge and appeared from time to time, perhaps even at regular intervals, such as the beginning of new ages, in order to deliver this knowledge. And I feel it's incredibly important, and again, often overlooked, that when Mary Magdalene first meets Jesus in Capernaum, that this, first of all, is no coincidence that they happen to meet. And furthermore, she is not the simple prostitute as she has been portrayed for these past 6 centuries or so. Since the 6th century, so we're talking 13 centuries, there's been this erroneous idea that she somehow was an errant woman, a sinner, and all of these other appellations that are applied to her. Not true. She is absolutely one of the most profound initiates that ever appears in the scene in any religious context. And when she meets up with Jesus, this is a profound meeting of the minds that takes place.
Now, exactly what kind of a meeting of the minds?
Well, in my view, when you go back and you research these stories of these Mary goddesses, of Mari, of Ishtar, they possess the secrets of a ladder, tower, or stairway to heaven. It was always the divine feminine that possessed the secrets of this ladder or stairway, which in the Christian context is called the cross. And in esoteric Christianity, the cross has nothing to do with a wooden beam made of 2 pieces of wood that are stuck together and having an individual crucified upon these beams. Instead, the cross is literally a mechanism by which one crosses the galaxy, crosses the stars. And in my view, based upon this research, this is what Mary Magdalene's role was in the life of Jesus. She was there to prepare him energetically, spiritually, and even physically for this event when he ascended the stairway to heaven and rode the ship of the gods, which today we call a stargate or a wormhole, and literally crossed probably to the center of our Milky Way galaxy.
The human body is a mechanism of transport. It is capable in and of itself of generating this wormhole. Your body is a mechanism that can take you back and forth in time and enable you to physically cross the universe. It is the most powerful piece of technology that has ever existed in this universe. And when you are with others, if you ever are graced with this, who do not have this body but have other kinds of bodies, you will know immediately what I know, which is what you really are. This is why William's work is so important, because he sees intellectually and he is intuiting this material, and the energy of that seeing is in and of itself part of what turns on the machine. Now I want to return again to purity, William, and we're going to keep chewing on these different subjects. Tell me again, in your view, and we talked about this in the last time we were together, and this is so crucial, folks, because the energy of your body depends on this. How do we come to the kind of purity we